picking up ambient noise from?
Forget to look. So don't look at you looking at me, and then they'll look.
So after I hand them
We would come out at 7:30 and then end the
Let us pray. Dear God, we ask that as today's graduates depart from the life they have had in this school, that they might become blessings to the world. That, remembering the gifts their families and friends and teachers have been for them, they might become gifts to others, and so become blessings. That, becoming aware that the world is always prepared for them by others in ways they can never fully repay, they might make the world a better place for those who come after them, and so become blessings. That, glimpsing purposes greater than those that they might have imagined for their lives, they might also strive beyond their own imaginings, and so become blessings. May Westover's graduates of the class of 2016 become blessings to the world. Amen.
Welcome. This graduation ceremony is the 107th in Westover's history, and can they be seated?
Yes.
You can be seated.
I blew it.
Tom has always been there for me, so thank you. I'll start again. Welcome. This graduation ceremony is the 107th in Westover's history, and on behalf of the faculty and staff at the school, I would like to welcome you to this special day. To the parents, family, and friends of our graduates, thank you for sharing these amazing girls with Westover. It is an honor to come together with you to celebrate the triumphs of these accomplished young women. To join me in my welcome, I would like to introduce Susan Clark, President of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you. May I first congratulate the class of 2016 on your demonstrated ability to walk in very high heels on uneven bricks and grass. That is a skill that will stand you in good stead for the rest of your lives, I assure you. Girls, thank you for choosing Westover. We're delighted that you've made it through and developed into the wonderful young women that you are, and I look forward to getting to know all of you over the years to come. Parents, family, friends, thank you for making it possible for the girls to be here. It's a great honor for us to have had them. I won't say anything more other than to say congratulations again.
The first part of the program, of the graduation program, is the awarding of prizes. On behalf of the faculty, and with the assistance of President Clark and Director of Studies, Rachel Beshevkin, I am pleased to make the presentations. Departmental prizes for outstanding scholarship. The Elizabeth Hosmer Kellogg Prize for Excellence in English goes to Leah Nichelle. The Elizabeth Wade White Prize for Excellence in English goes to Nola Iwasaki. The Julius B. Smith Prize for Excellence in Mathematics goes to Claire Donovan. The Julie P. McClintock Prize for Excellence in French goes to Carolyn Brazil. The Elizabeth Ross Cushman Prize in Classical Language for Excellence in Latin goes to Kira DeSimone. The Chinese Book Prize for Excellence in Chinese goes to Davis LeMay. The Linda Summers Smith Prize for Excellence in Spanish goes to Claire Donovan. The William Warren Barber and Elizabeth Barber Higgins Class of 40 Prize for Excellence in History goes to Nao Ogawa. The Frederick J. Kingsbury Prize for Excellence in United States History goes to Gwen Delaney. The Jane Wells Cheever Prize for Excellence in Science goes to Jenny Kim. The Francis Sortwell Perry Prize in the History of Fine Arts for Excellence in Art History goes to Brittany McDonald. The Gail Whitney Sturr Prize for Excellence in Studio Art goes to Julianne Brown. The Music Prize for Excellence in Music and Outstanding Contribution to Music at Westover goes to Leah Nichelle. The last 5 prizes recognize some of the personal qualities we believe essential. The Ellen Kane McGinnis Prize to a junior developing independence of spirit, sense of humor, courage, and love of life for herself and others goes to Fiona Boyle. The Louise Bulkley Dillingham Prize to a student who has exemplified integrity goes to Kira DeSimone. The Westover Parents Association Prize to a senior for valuable contributions to school life goes to Zulma Dunn. The Mr. and Mrs. Harry Webster Walker II Community Service Prize to a senior for outstanding service to the wider community goes to Mariah Fortunato. And finally, the Mary Robbins Hillard Prize to a senior who, through leadership, has shown qualities of initiative, perseverance, and courage. And the award this year goes to Kayla Ento. So each year, the senior class chooses one member to speak for the class. This year's student speaker is Victoria Graham. Vicki came to us from Baltimore, Maryland, and as any of you who attended the performances yesterday know, Vicki is an accomplished actress and a very fine singer. She's earned honors or high honors repeatedly during her Westover career. But perhaps the most important thing to know about Vicki is that she is all heart, and her caring nature has touched the entire Westover community. Please welcome Victoria Graham. You're all set. You're going to be awesome.
Sorry, I'm really nervous. Whew. Good afternoon. Family, friends, faculty, and fellow Westover girls, I present to you the class of 2016. We made it! I don't know about you, but I definitely wasn't sure I was going to make it. It seems like a lifetime has passed between freshman year and this very moment. When we were causing a ruckus on corridor with our loving dorm parents Elise and Caitlin Montez de Oca. I remember thinking that graduation would be so incredibly far away. Since that time, I can honestly say that this school has seen me at my very best and my very worst. From screaming and laughing about absolutely nothing, to taking walks at night on the phone with my mother, crying and begging her to please get me out of here. I have had my highest highs, my lowest lows, and everything in between at this place. Going to school here changed my life, and I mean that with the utmost sincerity. It has not been easy, not even a little bit, not even the slightest bit, but somehow we pulled through, and I hope we can all agree that we wouldn't change it for the world. Yet, through all of that, I have grown and changed into the woman I am today, and I am sure that my classmates can all agree that the school has done the same for them. You learn so much here. Of course, there's the seemingly endless academic curriculum with all the things we've learned about World War II, derivatives, and Dante. But there's also the things we've learned from experience, such as if it snows, you need to avoid quad at all costs because you will get nailed in the face with a Chris Sweeney snowball. Although it sounds delicious, you can't put ribs in the toaster. And despite the urban legend, there actually aren't any senior stairs. All jokes aside, I have learned major life lessons here, and from my teachers and from my classmates. I've learned lessons from culture to character, and that wisdom you can't just get from a textbook or study guide. I will share 4 of those things with you from my 4 years attending this school, because I believe these things can help advise any person at any age, but those especially going off to college. My first lesson is open-mindedness. I came from a small Catholic school in Catonsville, Maryland, so before I got here, I didn't really know much other than the Bible. Everyone got really good grades there because you didn't really need to study or take notes if you knew the names of the apostles. Needless to say, I had a pretty big transition ahead of me. I think that's one of the toughest yet most beautiful parts about freshman year. Everyone comes from a different background with different experiences, and we all come together and learn from each other. As soon as I arrived, I talked to my amazing and hilarious freshman year roommate, Cece, and her wonderful family. She gave me a banner with my name written in her language, and honestly, I thought it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. The culture and perspective I've witnessed and learned here are things I'm so grateful for. I couldn't even imagine being with people from 5 different countries in the same room. I was able to learn some cool things, like what to do when you're driving in the state of Maine and a moose is in the road. And thanks to my incredible classmates, I was able to share some of my knowledge too, such as black hair care, One Direction, and my overwhelming Maryland pride. I have been opened with and open to people and impressions I would not have dreamed. The second is forgiveness. We are a small school with small classes and small courses, so it's almost inevitable that conflict will arise. I know that I've had my fair share of drama, and I can guarantee that I'm not the only one who's been thrown into such. I have definitely been in some tough situations that made me question who I am, who my friends are, and whether or not I'm even doing the right thing. But nobody's perfect. I can confess I've been pretty terrible to some people in the past, and they've been the same to me. From small, irrelevant arguments to huge blowout fights to long standoffs, we're all learning and growing, and with these conflicts comes the lessons we get from all the mistakes that we've made. So, I formally say, whatever problems I've had with you, big or small, I ask you to forgive me, because no matter what we've been through, I forgive you. I don't believe in holding grudges and hostility because I believe that's one of the biggest problems in our world today. Not only do you have to forgive the crazy people and the crazy things that will go on in your life, but you also need to forgive yourself. Personally, I have a long history of not loving and accepting myself, and I would constantly tear myself apart to the point where I felt like I didn't even want to be on this earth anymore. I've been through some dark times, and it's honestly a miracle that I'm standing before you today. I would not wish those thoughts or feelings upon my worst enemy. But now that I am older and I've been able to live life a little longer, I can look back and feel like I can begin to understand where the darkness came from and how to take care of it in the future. Self-hate and self-loathing did not fix any of the problems I had with myself, and even worse, prevented me from seeing the beauty around me. Love starts from within, and you can't love anyone until you love yourself, as cheesy as that sounds. You don't have to understand anything that goes on in your life because it can be almost impossible, but I think you'll be able to grow and live a fulfilling life if you shed that heavy weight of animosity towards anyone, including yourself. This lesson goes along with my next one, acceptance. Similar to my prior point, I've learned things just aren't going to go my way. The world does not revolve around me, and there will be times when things will be out of my control, and I just have to accept what's going on, throw my hands up, and let things happen, like rain. This important other piece of acceptance is actually having fun. I know that sounds impossible for those who feel like you're drowning, but trust me, it's possible. I have had this conversation at many a dinner table that Westover really teaches you how to make your own fun. I mean, when you're thrown in the middle of the woods, sometimes you just have to get creative. What I'm trying to say is you need to focus on your own happiness, whether it be with your friends or with yourself. Let go of the things that weigh you down and go have fun. I know that Westover can feel like somewhat of a prison. I mean, with all the restrictions and the key cards and the endless homework and the white, yellow, and blue cards and all of those obscure rules in the handbook that no one has ever heard of but you're expected to memorize anyway. It's easy and completely normal to feel trapped, but I promise you, despite your current situation, having fun is completely possible. Life is wild. There are times when you will feel completely out of control, and not in a fun way that I mentioned before. You may feel like the world has it out for you and everyone is against you, but I assure you that is not the case. Life most definitely won't be perfect, and there definitely will be bumps in the road, some larger than others. But everything will work out eventually. There will be good times again. As the author Deborah McGaw once said, everything will be all right in the end. If it is not all right, it is not the end. And why stress over things you can't control anyway? Focus your attention on the good things in life, because In some cases, they won't be there forever. So, my fourth lesson is gratitude. This is probably the most important to me because I feel like it cannot be explained enough. After these 4 years, I can be nothing but grateful. To my parents and family, thank you for putting up with my complaining and the financial difficulty we went through to get here. You never stopped believing in me, and your support is priceless. To my teachers, thank you for your endless knowledge and wisdom in and out of the classroom. The student-faculty bond here cannot be described, and I am terribly going to miss the random hugs, the inside jokes, and the hangouts with all my favorite adults. To my Westover girls, I love each and every one of you more than I can put into words. My gratitude to all of you is split into 2 parts. I thank you for the silly Westover things, such as running after me with your forefingers because you knew I wasn't in dress code, for hoarding muffins with me, for the wild dancing at Germans and literally every Westover event, and for the many hallway smiles in the beginning of each year, even though nobody knew each other yet. But I also thank you for the more serious things, like keeping me and each other motivated during tough academic weeks, your incredible team spirit and sportsmanship, dance and drama kids included, for reminding me that skipping meals isn't going to fix anything, and for your endless emotional support and open-mindedness despite anyone's situation. Westover bonds are steady and strong, and any of you can call me at 3 a.m. or crash at my future place because, let's face it, we're all sisters now. And lastly, to the beautiful, amazing, intelligent, incredible class of 2016, I love you 50 with all my heart. I will never be able to articulate how each of you have changed my life. We are all going off to different schools, different states, and different countries. But no matter how far and wide we may go, I hope we can all agree that we'll be there for each other no matter what. Life will take us wherever it decides, and we may all grow and change in different ways. But we have all had the unique and significant common ground of attending this beautiful school with each other. In the words from Dirty Dancing, I've had the time of my life, and I owe it all to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. I was trying to get up here in time to get a hug, but I'll get one later. So now I'm going to introduce our commencement speaker. It is my pleasure to introduce Maura Tansley. She's the class of 2000, was second head of school and second head of Overs. She went on to earn her bachelor's degree in arts administration and French from Simmons College, and subsequently spent 5 years working at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston, where her last role was to oversee internal operations. She then attended Boston University School of Law, where she participated in the BU Law Criminal Clinic in both the Boston Municipal and Juvenile Courts. That experience solidified her decision to become a public defender. Immediately upon graduation, she joined the Committee for Public Counsel Services of Massachusetts as a public defender in Worcester County. Maura has been a member of the Westover Alumni Association Board of Governors since 2010, and next year she will become chair of that board. Maura was so delighted to join a group of Westover students on the school's revived community service trip to Jackson County, Kentucky in July of 2013, a trip she first made as a student in 1999, that she has returned every year since. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Mo this year, and I am so thrilled she is speaking to you today, as she is such an accomplished, thoughtful, and talented Westover graduate. Please welcome Maura Tansley.
Good morning. Okay, I'm game to give this speech no matter what happens with the rain. I have a tree, your family has umbrellas, so you guys let me know because you're the ones that are exposed over there. Okay. Thank you for asking me to be your graduation speaker. I am truly honored to be here today. As Julie said, I'm a lawyer, specifically a public defender. So that means if you happen to find yourself arrested in the state of Massachusetts and you can't afford your own criminal defense attorney, I can be appointed to represent you. So many things I want to say right now. I'm also the incoming president of the Board of Governors, but I'm fairly certain that it's neither of these two things that are the reason that the class of 2016 asked me to be their graduation speaker. I suspect it had a lot more to do with mayonnaise, and I can explain. As Julie said, I'm one of several alumni participants in Westover's yearly trip to Kentucky. We run a camp, do some building projects. We've made a fence, built a porch that I'm proud to say is still standing a year later. 2 summers ago, we stayed in an emergency shelter part of a ministry building that slept 8 bunks to a room. On the very last morning, I was exhausted and snuck out to get an early shower. The night before, there had been all sorts of giggling and some kind of activity around my shower stuff. But honestly, in the bleary morning, I had forgotten all about this and everything seemed fine. Got in the shower, shampooed my hair twice, and headed back into the bunk room. Got back in there and the girl said, "So how was the shower? Notice anything?" To be honest, I really hadn't, and I started to panic, much to the girls' amusement. And then they told me they had replaced my shampoo with mayonnaise. And I had just washed my hair with it again twice. Now is probably a good time to share with you that I absolutely hate mayonnaise, and these girls knew that. So I want all of our honored guests here today to know that a few of these bright, kind, and thoughtful young women sitting innocently before you today are actually crafty, diabolical tricksters. And there will be payback. I have to assume that that Mayo incident was more of the impetus to ask me here today than any recent court arguments challenging the scientific basis for standardized field sobriety tests. Now, girls, I do know that you were interested in having Diane von Furstenberg be here today. She's the woman behind your senior quote and the famed clothing designer. I wanted you to have a little bit of her here with you today, so I did choose a Diane von Furstenberg dress to wear. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist, director of the Hayden Planetarium, and the prolific Twitterer, was another hopeful speaker. You wanted to hear what he had to say, so I asked him. I sent him a tweet. It was my 4th tweet ever. It took me longer to compose those 140 characters than it took me to write this entire speech. I owe a special thank you to my classmate, Amelia, who's here today, for her support. She lovingly describes my attempts to use Twitter as being like watching a drunk baby giraffe try to walk. The good news is that I figured out Twitter. The bad news is that Dr. Tyson did not tweet me back. It's probably because I only have 16 followers. So here we are, soon-to-be Westover alumni, and the alumna who washed her hair with Mayo. And the only thing standing between you and your diplomas is me and the rest of this speech. Because after all, this is it. You did it. You made it through classes and exams, sports camps, lantern poems, several harrowing weeks without Robert baking muffins in the kitchen. Yeah, we heard about that. You persevered through college boot camps and biolabs. You memorized the prologue to Canterbury Tales, in Middle English, of course. And if you're anything like me and my friends, you also learned a rap version, which is fun to share at parties. You kept your cool through fire alarms on opening night of Rent, and you simply dominated in squash. You fought your way from academic probation to the honor roll. Your eyes were opened as you explored South Africa, Rwanda, and Kentucky. You rallied and dirged. You welcomed a new head of school. You did something called Germans and Dorcas, which I can assure you no one will ever understand. You met your best friends and spent hours solidifying those friendships over countless meals in the dining room. You spent a lot of time getting into and out of circles. You built machines and apps and robots. You experienced something called Food Truck Friday, which, let me tell you, every alum I've ever spoken to is extremely jealous of. And most recently, you survived marching practice with Shelby. Hi, Shelby. I can say that. Shelby and I have known each other for a very long time. We graduated together, although knew each other before Westover. She and I are decided that you have very good taste as a class. You dedicated your yearbook to her, and you asked me to be your speaker. Clearly, you were familiar with our junior year Dorcas duo of Funkmaster Mo and Silicone Shell. If not, you can ask her about it now. At some point, you began to have your last of Westover things. Your last study hall, the last time you shouted out your Wester Over cheer. By the way, can I hear from my overs out there? You guys just gonna let that happen? You had your last convocation, dirge, chapel, candlelight, lantern. The last time you marched down the bricks, this time for real, just moments ago. And while today is a culmination of lots of lasts, it's also a day of one tremendous first. In a few moments, you will accept your diploma and take your first steps as a Westover alumna. I can't imagine a better way to spend a beautiful June morning than witnessing 51 Westover seniors become Westover alumni. When I said I was honored to be here, I really meant it. Before you accept your diploma, I want you to take a moment to reflect on what it means. I know you requested a funny speech, and Kathy promised you that I could deliver on that. Do you know she actually sent me a threatening email saying that her reputation was on the line? I also know Kathy for a long time. But I do want to be serious for a moment. When you receive your diploma, you will join a group of only 4,092 living alumni. 4,092. Some of you will attend colleges with more current students than Westover has alumni. Some of you will attend colleges with more first-year students than Westover has alumni. All that is to say that a Westover diploma, a Westover education, is not something to take lightly. You are a lucky few. I don't mean this to diminish any of your individual hard work, but simply by virtue of the fact that you were educated on this campus, it means that we have expectations for you. I have expectations for you. Instead of passively accepting your diploma today, I want you to commit to your role as a Westover alumna. I want you to consider your acceptance of your diploma as a beginning of a contract. Remember, I am a lawyer, not just the Mayo lady. Consider this a contract between Westover, your fellow alumni, and me. And I have a few terms that I hope you'll agree to. Number one, think small. Today, many people will wish you well for big and grand adventures and tell you to get out there and change the world. But I'm telling you to think small. And I want to be clear, you're a particular group of young women that I have no doubt will do big and great things. But along the way, there will be many days where you do not change the world. There will be many days where the best you can do is focus on one-on-one interactions with another human being. As a public defender, my daily work is in the crushing cogs of the criminal justice system. It's a system that seems designed to swallow my poor, addicted, and mentally ill clients whole. I can't change the entire system for them, at least not today. So I remember to think small. Can I call a family member or a treatment facility? Can I spend a few extra minutes listening, asking questions? Sometimes a hand on their shoulder is actually all that I can do that day. So on your path to these big things, don't forget these small interactions. I firmly believe they will act as buoys on your way to the big things. One of my favorite Westover traditions is one of the smallest. I've always loved that part of ring tradition, where you turn your ring so the lantern faces out and your friend locks it for you. Unlike graduation and lantern, this calls for such a small moment, just between two people, and yet it carries great significance. You turn the lantern out because you are committing to sharing what you have learned, to looking outside these yellow walls, and to putting your education into action. Which brings me to my second term of our contract. Grow noisy and bold. In the late 1800s, opportunities for women to be employed outside the home began to expand. This meant that there was a greater presence of women just literally outside, walking in the streets, riding bicycles to and from work. It was such a change that it raised eyebrows. Yes, seeing women doing things like being outside was cause for concern. The YWCA worried that, quote, young girls in this unconventional out-of-door life are so apt to grow noisy and bold. You can be sure the YWCA of that time meant this as a warning. I, on the other hand, want it to be your mantra. Grow noisy and bold. Find something you care about. Advocate for it. I got this noisy and bold quote from Rebecca Traister's book, All the Single Ladies, Unmarried Women and the Rise of an Independent Nation. I recommend it to everyone, married, single, woman, or not. It's filled with things to get noisy and bold about. And since someone thought it would be a good idea to give me a microphone, I have something I want to get noisy and bold about for a moment. My issue is how we treat individuals who are poor and drug addicted in the criminal justice system. And I want to tell you about Rat Park. My introduction to Rat Park came from reading Johann Hari's book, Chasing the Scream. Hari traces the devastating path of our war on drugs and makes a compelling argument for legalization. In 1970, Bruce Alexander, a professor of psychology in Vancouver, already knew about rat experiments that went like this. You put a rat alone in a cage and give them access to 2 water bottles, one regular water and one laced with either cocaine or heroin. All rats would become heavy drug users. They would all go to the laced water. 9 out of 10, in fact, would drink from the drugged water until the point that it actually killed them. But Professor Alexander wondered, what would happen if we switched the cage up? So he made Rat Park. Rat Park was a cage filled with colored balls, the best rat food, tunnels to scamper around on, and lots of fellow rat friends. He found that all the rats tried the cocaine, but overall they didn't go back. Rats in Rat Park consumed less than a quarter the amount of cocaine the isolated rats did. None became heavy users, and none died. Curious, Alexander conducted another experiment. He left rats alone in a cage with access to cocaine water for 57 days. As expected, they all became compulsive users. Then, he put them back together in Rat Park. They exhibited withdrawal systems, and then the heavy use stopped. The good cage saved them, Hari says. Consider that we incarcerate addicts at an alarming rate. We literally put human beings in cages, and these are not good cages. If incarceration worked to combat addiction, my caseload should be shrinking every year, and I can assure you it is not. Hari suggests that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. It is human connection. Of course, you knew that already, right? E.M. Forster told us, only connect. This brings me to my next term for our little contract. Be Tina and Amy. Yes. I want you to be Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, or Anne and Leslie, or Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph and Bridesmaid, or Anne Shirley and Diana Barry. Pick a real or imagined friendship between women and take the best parts of it for your own real-life friendships. Believe wholeheartedly in what Rebecca Traister says. Female friendship is not some consolation prize, some romance also ran. Women who find affinity with each other are not settling. In fact, they may be doing the opposite, finding something vital that was lacking in their romantic entanglements and thus setting their standards healthily higher. I urge you to invest in your platonic female friendships after you leave here. Those connections may well be the most fulfilling you ever have, and celebrate them. We don't have specific ceremonies to celebrate our friendships, like we do for marriages and births, and I think we should. This fall, I will celebrate my 20th friendiversary with a group of Westover friends. By the way, this group all read Rebecca Traister's book at the same time in various parts of the country. My relationship with them far outlasts any romantic relationship. We are smashed, or so the term's called. As Traister explains, friendships formed between girls in boarding schools became so accepted they were called smashed. And it was through these friends that young women learned trust, loyalty, tolerance, and patience. The adult equivalent of these connections became known as Boston marriages. These marriages were platonic, but allowed educated women financial and social independence. I'm delighted to have a couple of Boston marriages myself. Katie and Amelia, 2 Westover friends here today, definitely fit that description for me. And while I don't want to wish you a life of loneliness, I do hope that you prioritize being single for a good portion of your life from here on out. Spend time investing in your friendships and yourself. Date someone only when they are worth not being single for. And when you do find that someone is not worth being single for, you'll know it's right because they come and cheer you on while you give a speech about the virtues of being single. And here's my last term. Expect disappointment. I know today is a day of celebration and happiness, but I would do you no service if I sent you off with rose-colored glasses. You will leave here, and you will try your hardest, and you will still fail at some things. You will have great losses. You will struggle and question your every move. This is normal. How you fare in those moments of uncertainty are what will make your successes possible. For those of you who are in chapel this morning, Farnaz's talk was a living example of this part of our contract. Those scary moments are what will clarify for you what is important in your life and what you value. One of our newest governors, Ali Seifert, recently posted on her popular blog, The Sociable Scientist, about her difficult decision to leave her postdoc research position. Her honest account of how she evaluated her options and decided to make a change from what was expected to something that made her more fulfilled is something I would encourage you all to read. And 2 pieces of advice she received really resonated with me. Don't live by fear, allow regret, and don't underestimate your network. I worked for several years before going to law school, and the transition back was very difficult. I did not particularly enjoy law school, and with the exception of my hands-on trial classes, I didn't do particularly well either. I worried for a long time that I had made a terrible decision to leave a career in museum education. I didn't know what kind of lawyer I wanted to be or whether I even would stay long enough to graduate. In my first year as I was preparing for exams, I read one of Ann Polina's convocation speeches in an alumni magazine. I started to cry, but they were tears of relief. I was scared and uncertain, but the reminder that I was a Westover graduate, and that not only Ann, but a whole community of teachers, staff, and alumni believed in me, made me confident that I would be okay. So I wrote Ann a letter. I said, Ann, I'm just starting out. I don't know what I want to do, but I know the kind of woman I want to be. Okay, I didn't really say that. Someone else said that, right? But I did write her a letter, and she did write me back. She said, we all have moments of insecurity. And she wrote that wherever life leads you, you will do what I hope for every Westover graduate, that you leave the world better than you found it. I know Ann's loss is one felt profoundly today of all days, and I don't invoke her memory today in sadness, but rather in inspiration and a reminder. When you encounter fears and disappointments, and you will, don't let those derail you. Reach out, use your network, rely on Westover. So this is the agreement you're entering into when you accept your diploma. Think small, be noisy and bold, be Tina and Amy, and expect disappointment. Make us 4,143 strong alumni. As you become Westover alumni, you must begin to craft a life that leaves the world better than you found it, in whatever way this resonates with you. This is the contract I propose, and I hope that you accept it. And congratulations.
Now, here's the moment you've all been waiting for. With the assistance of Ms. Clark and Ms. Beshevkin, and on behalf of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to award Westover diplomas to the graduating class. Would you please hold your applause until the last student in each row has received her diploma.
Kayla Ataka Ento. Claire Alice Donovan. Cornelia Hamilton Funk. Marion Davis LeMay. Isabel Madeline Morrissey. Christina Rose DiBartolomeo. Chelsea Yvonne Miller. Amelia Catherine Bell. Deanna Lindsay Bugel. Catherine Ann Cromer. And Victoria Elizabeth Graham. Radhika Basu. Liane Ishikawa. Kira Lindsley DeSimone. Sophia Marie Davis. Alexandra Feneby Weldon Ivanov. Jian Kim. Sophia Ann Atkins. Leah Gertrude Nashell. Now Ogawa. Chloe May Eggert. Hannah Bixby Maharg. Mariah Chanel Fortunato. And Julia Cassidy Atkins. Brittany Darsh McDonald. Carolyn Dong Juen Brazil. Jamie Josephine Matherin. Now Kim. Julianne Sarah Brown. Autumn Sky Janeski. Haley Marie Waskowitz. Elizabeth Mary Heisler. Sulma Olivia Dunn. Nola Camille Iwasaki. Priyanka Sarita Agadi. Emily Ruth Amarante. And Serena Ann Velazquez. Gabrielle Allen Bonaviri. Kyobin Jian. Xin Yang Li. Nicole Alyssa Gansey. Gwyn Dira Delaney. Jocelyn Norris. Jillian Elizabeth Moisan. Finula Drala Stone. Alyssa Ann Wallach. Catherine Fowler Crisell. Rachel Olga Yerkes. Zessie Leo. Erin Margaret Bottino. And Ava Marini Menin. Colleagues, students. They want to do it first? Okay. Okay, now? Now? Okay. Okay. Colleagues, students, family, and friends, I present to you the 107th class to walk down this brick path. It is my great honor to present to you, now with their diplomas, Westover's graduating class of 2016.
I just want to say this is all a very hard act to follow. That was great. I didn't realize the rose petals were going to happen. I love it. So charming. So at this point in the program, I wanted to say a few words to the senior class, but before I begin, I wanted to alert you that the closing ceremony after the benediction and school anthem takes place on the athletic field directly behind me. I believe you'll want to see this ceremony. It's our graduation circle, a tradition as old as the school. Through the years, photographs of the Westover graduation circle have appeared on everything from greeting cards to dust jackets to the pages of Life magazine. The images of unity and community, of wholeness and belonging are uniquely Westover. The best vantage point for viewing the circle is gained by exiting the quad to my left and then walking down the arcade towards the Performing Arts Center. The ceremony can also be seen from the embankment directly behind me. May I ask that you take your belongings with you, as the chairs will be taken down while you are viewing the graduation circle. Seniors, no longer alumni. I have a brief charge to you. In fact, I'm going to angle myself a little bit here. You have learned a great deal during your time at Westover about yourself, about your peers, about the world around you. You've begun to understand where you excel and where you may need to work a little harder. You've also begun to experience the freedom of not doing things you are not passionate about and face the reality you may have to do some of these things anyway. I hope and I believe that your experience at Westover has made you eager to learn more, explore further, and stretch yourself. And I feel quite certain you have already surprised yourself along the way. And as you confidently go forth to take new roles as alumni, I want to charge you with one thing. Never forget what it feels like to be a member of the Westover community. I talked to a senior early this fall who expressed her worry that she would never find a community like Westover again. I told her that one of the gifts of Westover is now you know what you're looking for, and you can move forward and begin creating community yourself. And here are a few ways you can bring Westover out into the world. Interact with others as you have during your time here, and boldly expect others to reciprocate. Treat everyone as an individual and see every new person you meet as an opportunity for connection. This not only creates community, it enriches you as a person. Genuine interest in others and a willingness to stay connected to those who matter to you is at the heart of a life well lived. Don't be afraid to ask for help, ever. Women don't ask for help enough. We often see it as a sign of weakness. But as I said back at Convocation, there is no prize at the end of the road for being Miss Perfect. And the real secret is that people love to be asked. We all want to be useful and helpful, but just don't forget to pay it back. My dad is full of helpful aphorisms, and one of my favorites is, don't solve a problem until there's a problem to solve. I thought about that a lot this year. Sometimes you can spend hours anticipating problems that never materialize. Stay in the moment, even when it's a struggle. Stay open to possibility, because some of the best things that will ever happen to you are those you could not predict or plan for. And my last piece of advice is courage makes all else possible. Think about all the things you've already been brave enough to do at Westover. And that's one thing I have heard over and over again from all of you as seniors, is that Westover encourages you to take a risk and try something new. Think about something that you took a risk on and the results made you really proud. One thing you can't actually believe you did. And if you can do that, you can do anything. I was speaking to a senior this spring, and she was telling me how her public school friends were so excited to be done with high school so their real lives could begin. But she said, my real life began at Westover. And that is possible because together we are greater than the sum of our parts. Together we inspire each other. Together we find joy in our connection. And together we find the strength to be courageous. So go forth and bring Westover out into the world. You are destined to make the world a better place, and the world will be lucky to have you. I am so proud of you all, and you will always have a special place in my heart as my first senior class. Thank you. Best of luck. I look forward to see you back as alumni.
Calm down. Hate to end it like this, but you have to calm down. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there is any virtue, if there is any praise, think on these things. These things which you have learned and received and heard and seen, these things do. And the God of peace will be with you and remain with you always. Amen.
Unite us, let your voices ring come back in, yeah.